die. Go too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at an epic replay. Yes, or an epic comeback. It is an epic replay, but also an epic comeback with OldDog here in the Warspite. Now, I do really enjoy the Warspite. It is pretty great for a tier 6 battleship. Not too many complaints I have about her, as you know, based on the Warspite episode I put out, but of course, you know, Turk to Burst could always be a little better, I suppose. But anyway. With OldDog today. Now, OldDog sent in the replay and said, you know, in there, you know, sorry, Thotgor, don't want to spam your inbox or anything. Don't worry about it. If you guys have replays that you want to send in, go ahead and email them to me, thotgor1@gmail.com. Just keep in mind, you know, it might not get up onto the channel. I do have quite a few things going on, you know, in real life that just take a lot of time. You know, I only get so many videos out a week nowadays. But anyway, don't be afraid to send in the replays. Not concerned at all about how many I get. I do get quite a few, actually. It's pretty humbling, I suppose, just that people would think to send in a replay to me. So that's always great, and I do thank you all, of course, for sending in those replays. And they're all amazing replays, even if they don't make the channel. They're all really good replays that you guys send me. I may not watch each and every one, but I do definitely take a look at the screenshots when they are there, just to get a gauge as to the battle and you know, how it sort of went. So thank you. We launch the scout plane and we get the extension to our range here. We can see a Miyoko off in the distance, and the Miyoko is sailing in a straight line. Now, this is something that I have never been able to get used to when I sail in my battleships, is the view of the scout plane. I don't even use the scout plane. I have it, but I just don't use it because it's just so awkward. I find that I've never been able to do it. I mean, I'm a cruiser captain through and through, so it doesn't really bother me that I don't know how to use this properly, I suppose. I'm happy with just getting the range that I get because, you know, in cruisers, it is really important to use the concealment that you have. More importantly, you know, maneuver and islands and land masses and stuff to use as cover to work your way towards the enemy. And I can do that in a battleship. Most of the battleships I play, that is. So not too concerned about it. But anyway, we do see that we have a lot of enemies over there to the north. And, I mean, it's to be expected. We're playing on Epicenter, right? A lot of people actually... NGA has been getting a lot of new members, which is fantastic. It's very exciting to see just the influx of people, so it's really great. But I have, you know, a lot of them have been saying... well, not a lot of them, but I heard conversations in channel, you know, people saying they don't like the Epicenter map mode. That was amazing. Just stop everything. That was fantastic. It's a good show, OldDog. But anyway, yeah, don't like Epicenter. I actually really like this map mode, and I wish that they would have it more often. And why I like this map mode is because it forces you to get in there and fight. And this is the way I like to fight. Close in, kind of knife fighting it out, really making the best use of your cover, right? Because when you're at these shorter ranges, you have less of a margin for error. If you make a mistake, it is going to become blatantly obvious to the enemy who's basically right in front of you, and they are going to destroy you, much like OldDog just did to that cruiser. It is just going to happen, and that's why I really like it, because it does really separate the weak from the strong, shall we say, pretty early on, and we're going to see that in this battle. It is an epic comeback, and of course we're down in points right now. Not really too badly though, right? I mean, it's debatable as to whether or not you would even consider this being down in points other than technicality, because it's so close. I mean, you know, you kill one enemy ship and you're back up to even or at least tied, you know, and it just, anything could happen. But we are going to start losing a number of our allies fairly quickly. I also got the, finally, got the Concealment Expert on my Zhao Captain. Yes, I know, took forever. And the reason why it took forever, I was stupid with the Zhao Captain. And I got some extra skills at levels 2 and 3 before I got my 5th commander ability. So it took forever, but I finally did it. And I am pleasantly surprised to find that 9.8 kilometers is the detection on my Zhao. It is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. just amazing. Oh, it's really good. I had an excellent game in the Zhao as well. I was thinking about showing it, but I really wanted to show off OldDog's replay, or at least subscriber replay today, because I don't want to necessarily just pump out, you know, a bunch of like high damage videos all the time. That's not really that great. There needs to be some substance there as well, I believe. So, well, we're taking a look at OldDog today, because there is definitely substance here. We can see that OldDog's team is, you know, still duking it out with the enemies. Now, the enemies right now aren't necessarily making a great move forward, right? We can see on the minimap that they do have this battleship here in front of us that we're shooting at. Another enemy ship behind this battleship is another battleship, kind of going, you know, one at a time into the middle. This is a very poor situation. The fortunate thing for these enemy battleships, though, well, for their team, I suppose, because these battleships don't necessarily get by unscathed, but the important thing for the enemy team in this aspect is that OldDog's team doesn't have anyone close in enough to take shots and really punish these enemy battleships. The only people who are in range right now is OldDog himself and the Scharnhorst. I believe that is where those, yeah, it's the Scharnhorst with the secondary battery going in there. So, you know, it's not necessarily great, and it would have been an excellent opportunity for OldDog's team to kind of move in there and just really take down one battleship at a time, but it just unfortunately wasn't going to happen. Now, we do still have this New Mexico, though, you know, on fairly low health, and if we can just get a few shots in, the New Mexico is kind of angled, but not angled enough that we shouldn't be able to do decent amounts of damage. So there we go, 7,500 damage in that salvo, which is not too shabby at all, and the New Mexico is almost dead. Close. We almost finished her off, but one of our allies does manage to do it, so that's the main thing. At least New Mexico won't be able to repair. Now, we have this enemy Nagato here off in the distance, right? Nagato isn't really necessarily looking at us now. Nagato is more focused on one of our allies. This is something else that I really don't enjoy. I mean, I enjoy Epicenter a lot, but I don't like the way that people tend to play it. It doesn't make any sense to me. We have these circles, you need to stay inside of these circles. That was also an excellent salvo, 17,000 damage, I think. So it really makes me angry to see allied ships or even enemy ships outside of these circles. It's like, you know, what are you doing? Did you not see the circles? Like, come on. And I know, I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to be in it all the time, but you need to be aware of where your allies are and whatnot as well. And even when, you know, you're on the edge and you're trying to turn out and you do end up going out a little, that's fine. But, you know, remember that you should always be in the circles. This is where you are going to win the battle. So when you see allies outside, it's just like, what? Like, why? But anyway, I don't want to rant too much on that. So OldDog's team only has 4 ships remaining. This is not too great. We do have quite a few enemy ships remaining, including 2 enemy destroyers. Now, these enemy destroyers are really the linchpin on the enemy's team here, right? Like the battleships coming in. We can see this New York coming in now. Not too big of a threat, right? There we go. OldDog is able to easily get the Citadel to kill Confederate, but it's the destroyers that are the big threat. They can come in and end it. So we do need to be very, very careful of these destroyers. Now, we have an enemy Leander over here. Luckily, we do have our allied Scharnhorst. Now, the allied Scharnhorst played an excellent game this game as well. When I was recording it and I was watching the battle, I got a little upset with the allied Scharnhorst player just because of the negativity that takes place in chat later on, but it's a struggle to say, still had a good game in that ship, even if the player may be a little salty, we'll say. Another enemy Miyoko there off in the distance. We're going to put some shots off into the player and hopefully finish the player off. Our secondary battery is also engaging the enemy destroyer that's there off on our port side, but we don't get any significant shots or damage in. The shots go into the enemy Miyoko, but again don't do any significant damage or anything like that, so we put the remaining shots that we have into the enemy destroyer, hoping to get some hits. We get one hit over penetration and it's over. I don't know how it would work in real life, I suppose, but in that instance, with that shot that hit the stern of that destroyer, it just, to me, would just rip the ass end of that destroyer off. It's just gone, and that destroyer would just start sinking. That's what I would expect to happen, but of course, it's a game, and it's going to be an over-penetration, but it would be cool if that would actually happen. Now, we have more torpedoes coming in from the enemy destroyer. I believe the enemy destroyer is a kamikaze. Now, kamikaze is the exact same as the Fujin and the kamikaze R. All three of them are the exact same. The kamikaze is on sale in the premium shop, or at least it was. I'm not sure if it still is. But that player, you can tell that this player is probably new to the ship, because all of the torpedoes that have been coming in so far, anyway, from that kamikaze, have all been out of range. That's another pet peeve of mine as well, especially working up through the German destroyer line, which we'll talk about in some upcoming episodes. Working my way through there, just seeing, like, the biggest one that angers me the most is I see an Omaha captain fire torpedoes off at a target that's 10 kilometers away. Just makes me so angry, but anyway, we do see this enemy cruiser here off in the distance, so we are going to try and get rid of this Atlanta. The Atlanta is a huge threat, and we need the player gone. There we go, one of our allies finishes it off, and we just have a little bit more damage to deal out to the enemy Miyoko, and that player will be gone as well. So we're sitting on about 108,000 damage, which is not too shabby at all for a tier 6. We are still woefully behind in points, but we have managed to kind of even up the odds in terms of ships. They have 3 enemy ships remaining versus our 2. We have still OldDog here holding strong as well. A few more shots going into the Miyoko, and hopefully one of those will finish him off. There we go. Nice little citadel to finish off the enemy Miyoko. 2 enemy ships remain, one of which is still a destroyer. So again, we do need to be very careful. Now, one thing I do really enjoy about the Warspite, among other things, is the turning circle of this Warspite. She turns on a dime, which is amazing, especially when you are trying to avoid torpedoes. It really works out so that you really don't have to worry too much about taking a full spread. We have an enemy Bayern off there in the distance, and you'll notice the smoke coming out of the stack, right? So this player is here. Something is happening, right? That someone's doing something. But we're going to see that that player actually ends up going AFK for some reason. Pretty critical moment in the battle for this player to either disconnect or just walk away. Not sure what was going on here, but we can see no more smoke coming out. And we have torpedoes coming in, but again, those torpedoes all run out of range. Fantastic. So we do see the enemy Bayern just sort of sitting there, not really doing anything. If we look at the turrets, we notice the turrets aren't moving, nothing's looking at us. So yeah, must be AFK now. So this, like I said, awful time for this to happen. Initial shots go into the Bayern and do basically nothing. Great. Now we just have to wait for the reload and be careful of the enemy destroyer. We know the enemy destroyer is around because we are detected. Now, yes, I know the Bayern would detect us as well, but I mean, with the torpedoes that we had to avoid last time, I mean, we just know that the enemy destroyer is nearby. Probably are going to have a few more torpedoes to deal with here in the near future. And we can see that OldDog is taking some evasive maneuver, kind of, you know, doing it in a zigzag here, which is good. This is good because, not only does it change your course and your heading, but it also changes your speed, because as you turn, you lose speed. So this is going to throw off the aim of the enemy destroyer captain, which is good. You want this. So more shots go into the enemy battleship here that again, appears to be AFK now all of a sudden. And hopefully we are going to start getting some, pretty decent damage out of this guy, because it's always nice to farm damage at AFK players. I know it's dirty and, well, not dirty, but cheap, I suppose. But still, I mean, if it's there, why not take it, right? Come on. So we have more torpedoes coming in, and it was at this point in time that I thought it was all over, and then there we go. Inexperience strikes once again. Yes. Very, very close indeed. You do have a little tiny window there with those Japanese destroyers where you can launch torpedoes without being seen, so you really have to be careful. Sometimes it takes nerves of steel to actually get those shots off. There we go. OldDog gets the kill on the enemy Baron. We're sitting on 4 kills now, 134,000 damage, which is just great, and we just have the one enemy destroyer remaining, the Kamikaze. Need to kill before we can call this a victory. So we're going to circle around. We're going to head into the center of the map, because this is pretty much where we believe that the enemy destroyer is probably going to be, based on where those torpedoes came from. Maybe this is where the enemy destroyer is. We're still spotted, so we know the enemy destroyer sees us and knows what's going on. You can see that we do still have one allied battleship here, or one allied cruiser, I should say, here with us. And something I wanted to say since the beginning of the replay, but it only popped into my head now, is that OldDog is wearing the pink collar of shame. Yes, oh, that pink collar, I've worn it. It's not fun. Not fun at all. Anyway, there we go. We managed to cap the middle zone, which is fantastic. And you can see that we are still capping the outer zone. In Epicenter, you can cap any of the zones from anywhere within the circles, as long as there are no enemies in those zones. So if the enemy destroyer, we can see, is not in the center, we start capping the center. And the fact that we have the middle and have lost some of the outer, we know that the enemy destroyer is actually, kind of cruising around in between the outer circle and the middle circle. So you can actually use all of this to your advantage in terms of, just gaining intelligence on the enemy and as to where probable locations are of that enemy to pop up. You'll notice OldDog does have his high explosive loaded, which is perfect. This is what we want. Our allied battleship or cruiser or whatever that was does end up going down, which is not so great. So it's 1v1 and it is an enemy destroyer. So we have to really be careful. Really be careful here and hope that we don't get killed, because we can see time is running down. The enemies still have the advantage in overall points, even though they don't actually have any of the zones anymore. They still have the advantage in points so far. So we have to kill this enemy Kamikaze if we want any chance of victory. Enemy Kamikaze pops up. We get a few hits into the player with our secondary battery. We can see the player pops out of view. We get our main battery off, miss on all the main battery, which is so unfortunate, and the enemy Kamikaze has gone invisible. He has engaged his Romulan cloaking device, and it's over. We have torpedoes coming in, and I was hoping that these torpedoes would run out, but finally the player has, just held on and managed to fire the torpedoes within the range and actually land some hits here on OldDog. Luckily for us, and OldDog, he has his repair all ready to go and his heal all ready to go. So easily able to repair and heal the damage. We're all set to go. Now we need to hunt this enemy destroyer. It is very hard to hunt enemy destroyers in your battleships. Very, very hard. Especially when you're used to playing something like the Bismarck, that does have your acoustic sonar. It has amazing secondary, so it does make hunting destroyers that much easier. Now, for someone like myself as well, who plays a lot of cruisers, it just is nerve-wracking not to have my acoustic sonar, because when I hunt destroyers, I essentially just point the bow of my ship at where I believe the destroyer is, and I sail in a straight line to that point, unless the enemy destroyer pops up. Basically, I'm just trying to sail straight on to the enemy destroyer, so present as small of a target as possible for that player's torpedoes, get right in there, take the player down. That is the general plan that I go with. Now, when you are in, say, the Warspite, or a battleship that does not have, which most battleships don't, any sort of acoustic sonar or radar ability, that does make it that much more hard, right? Because depending on the battleship that you're in will determine whether or not you should charge in at the enemy destroyer or if you should take a more cautious approach. We see more enemy torpedoes coming in, and these torpedoes once again have been launched way out, or well, not way out, but have been launched too far off, and they do end up running out. Now only 2 spreads came at us, so we can still expect a third. So there's a third spread, and that's third spread there. If we would have kept in a straight line, we would have actually ran into it, but OldDog was able to avoid them without too much hassle. Now those torpedoes came from the north, so most likely the enemy destroyer went around that island, around the back of that island, is now in front of us. So hopefully the player will pop up once again. We see some more torpedoes coming out with 2 more spreads. There's the enemy destroyer. If we can just get a few hits on the player. Oh, that's unfortunate, friend. Very, very unfortunate for you indeed. Not very much time left on the clock at all. We just need to kill the enemy destroyer. We get our high caliber and the kill. Now, we don't quite see it. We'll have to wait for the final screen to come up there, but OldDog did finish off that destroyer with his secondary battery. What a game. 707,000 credits earned. We get the devastating strike, the Confederate, the close quarters expert, the Kraken. He did get the Kraken with the 5th kill there on the kamikaze, as well as the high caliber. Not too shabby at all. Finishes 2nd overall on the team, which I thought was surprising. It was the Scharnhorst that managed to finish 1st overall on the team there, and it probably came down to maybe like secondary battery hits and capture points, but whatever. Still phenomenal game. We can see how some of the damage is broken down. We can see it's been broken down to a number of ships, which does make sense given the Confederate that was earned in this battle. And when all is said and done, we do walk away with a whopping 671,000 credits, which is always amazing. And that's really what you're looking for on these premium ships. I mean, unless you're training a captain or, you know, going for your Missouri, it's the credits that you want. Anyway, that is the end of the video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And of course, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.